Hi everyone. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the Lab 4 tutorial where we're going to be creating a solar system website using Node and Express. So let's first open up our IDE and navigate to the Lab 4 folder. And then we're going to go ahead and create a new terminal. And the first thing that we're going to do is creating the package.json file. And we can do this by typing in the command npm init. And it's going to prompt you for some questions regarding the project. You can always go back and change any of this information later. I'm going to just name the project Solar System. And I'm going to keep everything else at default. So I'm going to just keep hitting enter until we get to, is this okay? And I'm going to type in yes. Okay, our package.json files is created. And this is one of the most important file in any of the Node application because it contains all of the settings, the dependencies, the scripts, and the metadata for the project. We can also create this file by using the command npm init-y. And let me just go ahead and delete the file for demonstrating purposes. And we're going to try using npm init-y instead. This command is going to create the package.json file with all of the default settings, and it's going to use the folder name as the project's name as well. Okay, now we're going to install the dependency, which is Express and also EJS. Okay, now if we look at our package.json file, we see that EJS and Express are installed. And now we will create the index.mjs file. And this file is going to serve as the entry point to our application. So every time we start the server or we start the application, Node is going to look into this file first and foremost. So we're just going to copy everything under section 2.4 and paste it in here. And we're going to hit save, which is Control S in window. And let's walk you through some of the code that we have. First, we're going to import the Express library, and then we start a Express application instance. And we're going to be using EJS as our view engine. And we're going to be using a public folder, which we don't have yet, but we will create in the next section to store all of our static files, such as C++ or any of the images. And then this is a route. We set up a route for our root URL, and we're gonna send or respond Hello Express app into the URL. And we're gonna see that in just a second once we start the server. And the server is gonna be started on port 3000. Okay, now let's start the server. We're gonna type in the command node index.mjs. I'm gonna hit enter. And we see that the server is started. Now we can open a new tab and type in localhost colon 3000. And we can see the message Hello Express apps display. We will now create a template file for our website. A template file is just basically a generated HTML file. Okay, so let's first stop our server by pressing Control C on the terminal. And now we're gonna create two folders within the same level as the index.mjs file. And the first folder is gonna be views, and another folder is gonna be public. And within the public folder, we're gonna create two folders. One is CSS for all of the CSS file, and we're also gonna create an image folder for all of the image files. Okay. Now we're gonna create within the view folder, we're gonna create a file called index.ejs. And we're gonna be copy and paste all of the code in section 4.4 onto the file and press save. And now we're gonna go to the link in the section 4.3, and we're gonna search an image, or you can search it anywhere on the internet or Google. We're gonna search solar system. And I'm gonna choose this photo right here and download it to our computer. And we're gonna go to our download folder and we're gonna drag it onto our image folder. And we're gonna rename it solar-system.jpg. Okay. Make sure the name of the file that you just downloaded and the name of the file in the source of our image tag in the index.ejs are the same. Now, if we go to the index.mjs file, in our root route, we are currently only sending a response message. And what we want to do is we want to render the page that we just created. So we would do .render and then we put index because our file is called index.ejs. Now we're gonna hit save and we're gonna start the server again. Okay, now if you go to the localhost 3000 and refresh it, you will see our page being displayed. Now, if we look at the template file that we created, there are two links in our file in the within the navigation tags. Oops. Which is a link to the root URL and a link to the /earth. Now, if you look at the website, you can see the links here. And if we click on the home, it will lead to the root URL, which is just basically refreshing the same page. But if you click on earth, you will get an error message, cannot get /earth. And this is because we have not defined any root within our index.mjs file for this particular URL. So now we're going to go ahead and do that. We're going to copy the previous URL and I'm going to paste it. And here it's going to be /earth. And for this, we're going to render the earth.ejs file instead of the index. And we're going to go ahead and save it. Now we're going to create a file called earth.ejs. And if we scroll down to sections 5.3, we're just going to copy and paste all of the code onto our EGS file. We're going to hit save. And now if we look at our website and we refresh, we see that we're still getting the same error. And this is because every time we make a modification to our index.mjs file, we need to stop and restart the server in order for the changes to take effect. So we're just gonna hit Control C to stop the server and start it again. Now, if we refresh, we can see that the page is displayed here. Now, this can be quite convenient. Every time we make the change to our index.mjs, we have to restart our server. And there's actually a package. There are actually multiple packages, but there's a specific one called notmon that will help us to skip the process of having to restart the server every time we make a change. So if we go back to our tutorial and we scroll down all the way to the bottom at section 11, we can see that we can install notmon by using this command. I'll just go ahead and copy and paste onto my terminal, press enter, and install the package. Now, every time I want to start my server, I can just start with notmon index.mjs. And the server is started. Now, every time we make any changes to our index.ejs file, we don't have to, MJS file, we don't have to restart our server in order for it to take effect. Okay. Now let's go back to section 5 where we dropped off. And we are gonna be installing a node package in order to retrieve information about the planet to input it onto our page. So if you want to search up any of the node packages, you can actually go to npmjs.org. I'm just gonna go ahead and go there. And the package that we're searching for is called npm dash solar system. So I'm gonna type in here npm dash solar system. Okay, I found it, and I'm gonna just click on it, and you can see on the page there are all the commands and the usage and the instructions for the API calls within the page. So first of all, we need to install the package, and unfortunately, they made a typo here. So instead of solar system, they put solar dash system. And if we look up here, we can see that this is the command. If I try this one, let's just stop the server for now and install the package. I will actually get an error that the package is not found. So I need to put in this one instead. Okay, now that we have the package installed, we are going to go ahead and follow the instruction. So there are two ways in order for us to import a package, which is require an import. In this scenario, if you look at the page, we can see that they are using require, but since we're already using import express for our library, we're gonna need to use import as well. And the way for us to use that is we're gonna be using this line of code here. So I'm just gonna go ahead and copy paste it onto the index.mjs file, and then um, we're gonna use a planet Earth variable and make an API call to our planet's application to get the information about Earth. And we're gonna lock it onto our console to see what we are getting when making the API call. Let's go ahead and save that. And now I'm gonna start a server with the node one. Okay, now if we go onto our page and we click on planet Earth, we will get an object. We will see that an object is displayed on our console. And this is what we got back from our API call. And so there are image distant from sun, geolane description, and a few other stuff in here. So in order for us to use this, we are going to have to pass the planet Earth object that we created onto our render page. So this actually needs to go at the bottom. Okay, now we're gonna pass planet Earth object onto our render page. And we're gonna be doing that by calling planet Earth. Okay. And this is actually just a simplified syntax for planet Earth. Colon planet Earth. They're basically the same thing, but we're just gonna do planet Earth in order to keep it short. I'm gonna press save. Now we are gonna need to add the description and the image onto our template file. So we go to the earth.ejs. Now underneath the h2 tag, we are gonna put our image first. So copy and paste. And then we are gonna copy and paste the tag for our planet Earth description, and we're gonna hit save. Okay, now if we go to the web page and we refresh it, we can see that the photo and the descriptions are displayed on our page already. Now, if you get here, you can do the same to create a couple more template files for different planets, such as Mars, Mercury, Pluto, etc. And then you can also pause the video and take a minute to add the styles to your template files. Okay, hopefully everybody is done with styling their web pages. Now we're going to move on to the next part, which is using partials in order to reduce redundancy in our template files. Now, if we look at the index.ejs and the earth.ejs, we see that everything from the start until the open body tag are repeated between the two files. So we would like to avoid this by creating a partial file. So first, let's create a folder called partials within the views folders. And then we will create a file called path.ejs. And now we will move the redundant code. We're just gonna cut it and paste it onto the head.ejs file and save it. Now we are gonna include the file, the head.ejs file in the earth.ejs by using the less than percent and minus tag include open close parenthesis and single quote and partials slash head.ejs. Then we're gonna close the tag. And we're gonna do the same thing for our index.ejs. Let's save it. Now, if we check our web page, we will see that nothing changed and everything is still functioning properly. And the code is looking a lot cleaner. Now, if we look carefully, we also see that the navigation is also repeated between the two files, so we can also move those into a separate file. So we're going to create another file in partials called navigation, just nav.ejs. And we're going to move everything, including the navigation tag, onto the navigation. And we are going to include the navigation.ejs file. Do the same thing for our index.ejs. And everything still stay the same. It's functioning properly. And if you have already added the footer to your web pages, you can also follow the steps in order to put the repeated footer onto a separate file called footer.ejs. Okay, now moving on to the last part of our tutorial. We are gonna use an API to display a random background image. And the package that we are going to be using is called notefetch. So first we need to install it. We're going to run the command npm install notefetch. Okay, now we're going to import the library in our index.mjs file right underneath the express import. And we are just going to copy everything in section 10.3 and replace our current root URL route. And I'm just going to fix the indentation. Okay. So basically, we are making an API call to this URL, and the API key is provided by Dr. Lara. Normally, we would have to go to the API website and register an account in order to get the API key. After we make the fetch call, we are gonna get a response, and we are gonna get the data from the response and the random image from the data, and we are gonna pass the image object onto our index.ejs. Now that we have our random image object ready to be used, we are just gonna go ahead and apply the style that use the image as our background into our index.ejs file. And we're gonna do that by going down to step 10.4, and we are going to copy everything within the style tags. And we will paste it onto our template index.ejs file right on top of everything else. So normally, the style should go inside the head, should go inside the head tags. But in this case, since the head .has is shared between the index and the earth.has, if we do that, then it's gonna try and apply the style onto both of the files. But in our case, we only want to apply the style onto our root URL. So we are just gonna put it here and we're gonna save it. And now if we look at refresh our page, we should see that a random image background is applied to our root URL. And that's the end of our tutorial.